Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show with my co-host Trina Phoenix and our special guest Ryan Serio. Thank you for both for being here tonight. Ryan, welcome back. And
Thank
Trina,
you. Yes.
Thank you for being here. What have you been doing since we last spoke? It's been quite a while, 3 months or so.
Yeah.
What is going on? What is going on? Fill us in.
Yeah. So, so where did we leave off? So I think I was talking a lot about astral projection and dreams and stuff like that. So pretty much more of the same with that. Like I've been doing a lot of rites, a lot of like Stargate rites. That's what I've been into more lately. Like doing like so I started back last spring. I started working on this project that I came up with some of my spirit guides, that I wanted to go through all of the Stargates, like in the through the zodiacal wheel, or like the wheel of Ezekiel. And I didn't realize that at the time why they started me at the point that they started me at, but it's the exact point that the wheel of Ezekiel starts. You know how it's like the bull? So it starts off with the bull, then the lion, then the eagle, and then the man. So it's basically like that. So the bull is Taurus, the lion, of course, Leo, the eagle, Scorpio, the man, Aquarius. And the way it was explained to me, that you start off with like Taurus, which is like the beginnings of creation. It's like the fifth element, the energy of creation itself, the energy of substance. Then you go down through the elements, and then with Leo you get into the vital body, and then into physical matter. Scorpio is like once you get out of into the regeneration mode, and then you get into Aquarius, which is the man, and that's like where the greater mysteries begin. So there's Aquarius. So the man is like the part that's Aquarius, then Pisces, then Aries. So you have like so it's basically like Aquarius is like the divine mother, the unmanifest, and then Pisces is the divine father, and which is the creator, and then the sun is Aries, like the one who does like the action, like the child of the mother and the father. So it's like a really cool thing. And I have a couple months left since I just finished my Aquarius rituals. So I'm gonna start when Pisces season starts to do those, and then the Aries one. But like that's what I've been doing the most lately, and going through some of the tunnels, which are the major arcanum. So I'm up to tunnel 2 now. I worked the first 20, so I have 2 left. Now I'm in tunnel 2, which is the magician, and then after that it's tunnel 1, or the fool.
Wow. Okay, this is the best I can find on the Ezekiel wheel, but I don't know if this is right. Is this it? What you're talking about? I'm trying to get a visual for people.
So
it's basically the zodiac.
Yeah, it's the zodiac starting with the bull. So Taurus, yeah. So like it's like shifted. So it's like an X shape where it starts not with Aries but with Taurus. And what's cool about it is that each of the different constellations there represents like certain aspects of creation itself. Like, so Taurus would be the beginnings of creation. So that's like the fifth element, the ethers, you can call them. And then you can go into Gemini, which is mental matter. And then there's the astral matter with Cancer, the moon. Then you go into vital matter, which is Leo, and then dense matter, which is Virgo. And then you start the ascent up with Libra, and then up to Capricorn. And then that's like the lesser mysteries, and then the greater mysteries are what I mentioned before, where you have like the mother, the father, and the son.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things within it too. So it's something that it's actually very ancient. It's so like I've adjusted a lot of things based on the Stargates that I've been opening, because it's based on like 10-day weeks, which are what the weeks used to be before they became 7 days. And it's based on 4 of our years, so it takes into account leap years. So you have like a 4 years in our terms is one of the years that you go through this basically, because it takes into account the leap years, and that's based on the Sirius cycle. So everything is based not on solar cycles for the sun, but it's like a combination, because you have like the zodiac, which is based on revolving around the sun in like 12 of our months, but then you have a larger stellar cycle, which is based on the rising of Sirius, the star. And that's been that's a very ancient concept. Like a lot of the ancient Egyptians, lots of African tribes, the Maltese, a lot of these ancient cultures used to go by the Sotha cycle or the Sirius cycle, and it's very helpful. And this all ties in too with the angel work as well. So like in this book, which I've showed before, it talks about the it talks about like kind of each angel. There's 72 angels. So each angel, it rules for 5 days. So 72 divided by 2, you get 36. So 36 is the number of decans, and it's also the number of the minor arcana, like the suit cards in the tarot. So that it's all related basically. So as far as the angels go, like, so you have 2 5-day cycles is 1 stellar week. So you have the 10 days, cut it up into 2 5-day cycle. 1 angel rules 1 cycle, 1 angel rules another. The first cycle is more to do with like creation and like the material aspects and honoring our ancestors. And then the second cycle is more honoring the gods, like more of a resurrection type atmosphere, where you, at that point, like it's beyond the physical. So it's like you go into the creation side, the involution, and then the evolution to the God-man side. So that goes on for all of these different weeks. And then there's 3 per zodiac sign. So there are 36 decans within the 12 zodiac signs. So each zodiac sign could be split into 3 decans, and each decan is ruled by a particular constellation that encodes the energy within that particular decan. So you first find the constellation of the decan, and then kind of meditate on that and see what it means, like on a deeper spiritual level. And there is a book that talks about that, not in that particular way, but it talks about all the constellations. So this is a really good book that's good to check out. Celestial Scriptures. And this is by C.M. Houck. So this talks a lot about the different constellations in Orion and how they are understood throughout history by the ancients, in the Greek mythology as well, because the Greeks learned a lot from the Babylonians, from the Egyptians, and then they put it into mythological conceptions too. Like they were probably possibly the last ancient stargazing group that we have before like the modern era. And then like starting with the Romans, they went away from that, and then modern society absolutely has gone away from that. But the Greeks learned a lot from especially the Egyptians and Babylonians, who were just really into like the astrotheology, stargazing, and understanding the divine concepts through the heavens and through the natural world as well. So that's basically the whole philosophy behind these stargates.
So I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for thousands of years, the Egyptians and the Aztecs and all those people before studied the stars. They wrote down, they planned their weeks and days and stuff by stars. And then, like you
build
said,
their monuments toward them, like certain ones, like the pyramids. Yep.
Everything. And then all of a sudden, the Romans came in, and all of that was kind of abandoned.
Solar worship. It switched to solar worship. Then we had the 7-day weeks, and then it was more. Everything was centered around the sun, the solar system, and nothing really beyond that. So there's a lot of philosophy, a lot of gnosis you can get from solar worship and from the planets that we have, but the universe is so much more vast too. So it's a shame that we went away from a lot of the stellar philosophy.
Why do you think that is, though? That's the important part.
Mhm.
Why did that happen?
So I think a lot of it was intentional, because a lot of the people that wanted to produce empires at the time, like some of the very ambitious Greeks and some of the Romans that wanted to basically conquer the world, did not want the average person to be on like the natural cycles of life and natural cycles of the universe. So they kind of wanted to dumb them down and to make sure that they were not aware of certain truths. So I mean, like the ancient people, they were pretty smart. Like they might not have, like the common people might not have been able to read and write, which would in today's world be our measure of intelligence. But they were very in tune with the cycles of life, and they understood like the basic lore, the basic philosophies, and that was a problem, especially when you had all of these conquering imperialist countries, like first Greece and then Rome, try to conquer people. And at first they had to do it by force because the people wouldn't accept them any other way. Like the Greeks tried to kind of negotiate. Ancient Greece was a lot like America is today. So they took over places and then they tried to like integrate their customs. So they would like take over Egypt with the Ptolemies, and they would say, "Oh, well, we have, well, we're the kings now, so we're like God, so worship us." But it didn't really work out that because the people kind of saw through that. Like they weren't as primitive as they thought. Like the Egyptians were very highly intelligent. And then you have the Romans after that kind of just wanted to just take over everything, and then they had like the beginning of the Orthodox version of Christianity that was in many ways a perversion of the original Christianity, that was done for political reasons to kind of like win over the people's minds and make them subservient to the empire. So I think a lot of the solar worship was like dumbing down the cycles so that like people would learn less and less, and then eventually they just went away from that altogether. Went away from like astrology and solar cycles and the planetary cycles to just worship the state and the state religion, and then that continued for centuries, and that was very successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
You know,
Trina?
you've seen it just every time our consciousness gets to certain levels, which is like the consciousness I see right now on the planet. People are starting to reconnect to the stars. They're starting to pay attention to the signs and the wonders that we're seeing in the sky. They're starting to look at ancient
Yeah.
history and looking at the problems. We're at this level of consciousness, and every time it seems like we get reset. And I think that's why, because as long as they can keep us worshiping outside of ourselves, we'll never really understand the mysteries of how we're connected to the celestials and how we're connected to the sun and how we're connected to the moon, and that the lunar forces and the solar forces are equal and balanced in their power. They're just different in their their function. So, but
Yeah, it's like hot and
everything,
cold,
every
action,
yeah,
receptivity, balance.
everything is unified when you get down to the core. When you get to
Mhm.
the core of all of it, it's all the same thing. So this is a grand, massive soup of consciousness that we're experiencing a specific dimensional realm as a third dimensional realm, earthling, humanity. We're just experiencing this consciousness. But when you get to the internal workings of you, you're reconnecting to the source of what you came from, which is cosmic. So, it seems to me like there's so much attention on going still outside to get where we want to go with our own soul's evolution. And it seems like worship seems to be our biggest downfall. It seems to be the trap that gets us stuck into certain consciousnesses and keeps us from truly understanding the part of creation that we are as an individual part of it. will never be the whole thing, but you are a creator because you are a part of creation. The mystery really is what are you? Who are you? And how do you best contribute to this existence that you're creating before your very eyes?
Yeah, because we have all of these elements within us. Like all of these principles act within us if we choose to associate with them. That's the thing. Like a lot of people don't, they'd rather live in ignorance, but we have access to all of the divine powers. So all of these beautiful concepts, including beauty itself, like these are all things that we can embody ourselves. Like we can embody pure justice, we can embody pure goodness, but a lot of people just choose not to act on that for many different reasons. So like a big reason is that we aren't taught how to do any of that. Like when we are young, we go to school, we learn like some important stuff for living life, but we aren't taught like who we really are on a soul level. Like a lot of people nowadays don't even believe a soul exists. Because that's like not even part of our upbringing, our education. So it's like any type of spirituality is kind of put to the side, and we're only supposed to learn how to stay above water in this material life. So a lot of people now, like the new religion is atheism, even though it's technically not a religion, but a lot of people just don't even believe in a soul. They don't believe in anything. It's just they believe in the state, like the government is the new God. At least that's how it is in a lot of the cities now. Like I see that a lot in New York, and I'm sure LA is the same way. And a lot of the other
Oh,
big
yeah.
cities have adopted that mindset that replaces an external God, which is one problem and one trap, with an external government that serves the same purpose as God, but actually, and its priests are the politicians. So it's like you're replacing one external savior and mediators with the priests or the mediators, obviously, between you and a hidden, mysterious God that's way out there that you can't communicate with yourself, with now politicians are the mediators of justice. So we have to completely put our trust and faith in them, and then they will save us. That's how the mentality is nowadays. So it's like you're trading one trap for another. It's like the age of Pisces is ending, and with that, the age of political Christianity and political Islam, political religions taking the seeds of truth and kind of manipulating them for people's own personal gain, now into the age of Aquarius, where you're kind of eliminating that altogether, and you're treating the state, like the group, the collective, because the Aquarius is about collective. You're making that the highest goal, the highest good. So it's like it's like the newest perversion to keep like the ruling class in charge of all of the other people. And we have to really, like, as a collective, reach a certain threshold to see through that, so that to break the
Ryan,
power. Yeah.
did you see the recent little snippets from the different people who spoke at the the W and then the E and then the forum thing? I try not to get some
Oh, I
sticky
know what you're
stuff.
talking about. I haven't seen it. I know the
Did you
yeah.
see the black eye?
Oh, I actually
Did you
didn't
see?
see. No.
Oh, there's
I know what
one
you're
guy
talking
that
about, the
came.
organization.
Yeah, one came back the next day to apologize with a black eye and said, "Double fuck you." No, I'm not saying. That was amazing. And then there was also too another foundation. The president stood up and he pretty much said the same thing, that we don't agree with any of this anymore,
Mm,
and we're not
wow.
buying this, and everything that you're saying is opposite. And you're saying that this isn't a problem when it's clearly a problem, that everything's fine and dandy and everything stays safe. No, people are leaving those cities in the droves because it's so unsustainable now. So I think people are hitting that threshold of,
Mm.
yeah, things are
Yeah, and the
starting,
internet
they're
has
to
played a
wake
big
up.
role too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
it would never, Ryan, it would have never sunk in until it landed on their doorstep. And now that
Mm.
it's on the doorstep and they have to see what these moves to to bring all the people in and do all this stuff has the effect it is having on the country, those are still going to roll out in a big way where people are going to be shocked and awe. But nonetheless, at least the shock and awe that people are facing and the kids getting kicked out of school so we can put other people in there and all that fun stuff. This is really starting to affect their lives now. So now they're going to change their mind, and now they want it all to stop. So you're going to see, I think, an extreme flip. And this is going to be a weird situation. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I am seeing some very amazing things at the highest levels for non-compliance I've never seen before. And
Wow.
that is a spark of hope I've never witnessed ever.
That's good.
So I'm like, whoa, hold the phone. What did I just watch? I got to rewind that a couple times. You got to be kidding me. Yeah. The top guy, you know, the one that
So
wants
there
us
is
to
hope.
eat the bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he walked off the stage.
Really? The bug
Oh,
guy?
it's
Wow.
cray cray. Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah. It's
okay.
a good one. It's a good one. I couldn't believe it.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
So
funny.
there's higher level shifting happening in a very big way,
Wow.
because now they realize the effects that this is going to destroy this country, just destroy it. If they and now they're starting to figure out, they were like, whoa, this isn't going to work out so well. So yeah, the people are trying to wake up.
Good.
Maybe the people weren't dumbed down as much as they thought we were, but that you know,
No, they were.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean,
think they were.
But we
You know
we
what, though?
woke up. We're waking up.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. People like you, and you know, this is how it happens. This is how it happens. And unfortunately, a lot of people are being traumatized before they can get, you know, out of their sleep.
That's a big problem.
No, it's actually. I was always told that a lot of the shaking would be necessary to wake them up, because
that's true. It's a double-edged sword, because it could wake you up.
You have to shake.
Yeah, that you need a little bit of it. Some people get broken, but other people do wake up from all the shaking. So it's like a double-edged sword. Like if you can manage long enough to break through, then it could be a huge blessing, because then you see through all of it and you never go back. Like once you open your eyes, then that's it. Like Pandora's box is open, and then there's no going back.
It's amazing we're talking about this, because you know, I was listening to something about Darwin the other day, and it's amazing how for hundreds of years before him, you know, people had different conceptions of the world and how it was formed, and you know, life and religion and so forth and so on. And then Darwin came up with this crazy idea, you know, of you know Darwin's ideas. But anyway, the point is what happened is the governments and society embraced that right off the cuff and been promoting that for over 100 and some years now.
Yeah, social Darwinism, they said.
Yeah, exactly. What would stem from them embracing such a radical idea, you know, as that? Just like with the Romans and the Egyptians were way ahead. You know, they're talking about, I mean, most of the information that you have now and the Hermetics and all these things, the wheel, the zodiac and stuff, is all derived from the Egyptians and their studies of the stars. So it's like they wanted to get rid of it. They skipped over generations. And now here we are again studying all this stuff.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's they knew a lot, and that's why so many people at the time, like first it was the Greeks that wanted to get access to this, and you had some of the great Greek philosophers come in, like Pythagoras, and he came back and he started the first school in Greece, and then a lot of the other learned people, like a lot of the other philosophers, went to Egypt, including Plato and a lot of the other philosophers, to learn from the Egyptian priests themselves, and they all came back brilliant, like scholars that the West still learns from and still teaches in school, because they were so next level. And like these were the best of the Greek civilization, and then they basically learned from the priests of Egypt. So imagine what they were like. Like we lost all of that information with the Library of Alexandria, but like we see the effects from it, from just the philosophers and from the the descendants of those Egyptians that still carry on some of the ancient traditions when they do talk about it, like the Dogon tribes and like the Zulu. Like they keep a lot of those ancient traditions of Africa alive, and a lot of the philosophies that are behind them.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff, though, in like the Zulu and the Dogons and stuff, the reason I think those are still alive and passed down today is because they did it orally. They, entrusted somebody and they did it orally, and that way somebody couldn't come in and burn the records and then everybody forgets. Somebody changes the narrative and then everybody forgets. Kind of like here, who writes our history book, and who, that's the guy who's changing our history.
Revisionist history. And we're witnessing it in our lifetime. Like people change history from, like when I was young, there was a certain history. Now, all of a sudden, people are saying, no, that history is totally incorrect. Like this is the history now, like more in favor of like government and state and communism and all that. Like now they're trying to erase all the bad stuff that we learned as kids in the past, like that were so bad about these philosophies. And like we're like, no, wait, what about all the bad things? Oh, they forget about that now. So it's like
I know, I've noticed that too. I've seen that too, how the history books have been changed, and what we learned when we were in school, the kids today, they've been learned the absolute opposite in some cases, or they've just never even been exposed to the information, or the way that they were exposed to it was very different than the way we were exposed to it when we were kids. I've
and
noticed that for a while.
Yeah, and look at something like Wikipedia, how it could change like overnight. Like you can have one narrative and then a new narrative comes and like, okay, let's delete that and then just rewrite it how we want it written. And they do that. So if you look at Wikipedia pages over time, they completely change based on the narrative that we have now. And anything that deals with anything that isn't part of the narrative, like any type of spirituality at all, really, is considered like fringe to them. Like, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. This is a fringe view. All this stuff, like because they want to push just one certain materialistic narrative, and that's it. Like nothing else can exist, and they constantly change things and revise it over time based on like the new narratives that come along and what they want people to understand, to learn.
Yeah, and then you can go even a little bit deeper down that rabbit hole. Look, even the Bible has changed.
Oh, so and that changed from the beginning.
The text, everything can be changed somehow.
Yeah, the Romans changed that a lot, actually. Yeah, the Romans changed that a lot when they were first putting it together. So it's not new.
I read things that are no longer in the Bible. I mean, they're gone.
Oh, like even today you're saying they changed. Yeah, there's so many different versions.
There's no more the lion lays with the lamb scripture. That's gone. It's now a wolf.
Wow.
It's gone.
Oh.
So I mean,
they changed stuff. That's true. Like, this is more accurate.
The wine skins now have been turned into bottles. They now have bed. They didn't have beds in the biblical times. It was a mat or a cot. Yeah, it was never a bed.
And they do that now because
I'm like, it's all been changed.
King David laid on a couch.
How did that happen?
And I've seen, I have witnessed that, and they say that, well, based on our new analysis, we think that we believe that this is more accurate.
No, Ryan, my 1611 Bible changed. My 1611 Bible.
What's 1611? Oh,
it's the original Bible released by the Roman Catholic Church. The original Bible that doesn't even say Jesus. It says Iesus. No, the lion and the lamb is gone, and the wine skins turned into bottles. Yeah. My 1611 changed.
Wow. Yeah. Corruption goes deep. Happen? The corruption goes deep. They change everything that doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's an old 1611. It's an old original certified original duplicate copy, and I read it years ago, and then after 2004 I went and looked for these mandala effects people were talking about in my 1611. I about fell out of my chair. the changes were in the 1611 too. I was like, how does that
Yeah,
happen?
that's why you can't trust any, like that's one reason why you can't trust a lot of the written information that's passed on, and like Robert alluded to before, like a lot of these oral traditions, they get passed on, and now it's more available with like YouTube and other videos before they take them down, of course, because for some reason that's a threat. Like listening to an African tribe is a threat because it's misinformation. They don't want people hearing it, but like their knowledge is really next level. Like they teach a lot of things that people nowadays need to hear about the cosmos and our place in it, and like basically the power that humans really have. I think that's what it comes down to. Like the people that are very small-minded and power hungry and want control over others, they don't want people to know that we are all have that kind of power. Like we have more power than them, because they try to like constrict them, everybody else, and they're really like constricting themselves. So like other people are actually just way more powerful than anyone really knows. And until people really wake up to that like completely and get to that level, like people aren't going to know how powerful we really are, like what we're capable of doing as a whole.
That is for sure. That is because people don't give themselves credit. They're always telling themselves, I can't do that. I can't make a difference. I'll just go along and
I've
get
been
along.
like that too. Yeah, I was like that too growing up, and like I had to really shift my perception, and a lot of it was because I went through so many like out of body experiences, astral projections. Like I didn't believe any of that in the beginning either, until they basically like came to me and told me that this is real. Like I had to see it for myself. And even when I saw it, I didn't believe it at first, because it went against my mental paradigm that none of this could be real. Like my first thought was like, oh, maybe I'm having a seizure. And this is what happens when you have a seizure. You have a hallucination. Like, oh, maybe I'm having a hallucination. Maybe I'm having a seizure. Like you think of all of these excuses.
I am going to logic this away.
Huh? Yeah, exactly. You think of all of these excuses why something that you see happening in real time is not real. So after a while, you just give up and say, okay, I admit it. This is real. Because I thought that if I logicked it away, like you say, that it would stop. And instead it got worse. Like, well, not worse, but instead it got more pronounced. Like I actually had more of these experiences after I totally denied them as fiction. Like it didn't make them go away at all. It actually made them more pronounced, and like these beings were more in my face. Like how much more do you want before you accept our existence? Basically, it was crazy like that. And then after a while, I just gave in, and then I started doing these things intentionally and learning like alternate modes of spirituality where you can pass through the different worlds. You have to go beyond like what's taught like from the mainstream spirituality now, because they don't even like Christianity, Islam, Judaism, they don't even acknowledge the existence of passing through dimensions until you really get to the esoteric fractions like the Kabbalists of the Jews and the Sufi Muslims, the Gnostic Christians, but they're kept very out of the public's eye because they're not like part of the narrative. So we have to like kind of go into those different rabbit holes ourselves, like on our own, because we don't get help from mainstream.
You know, it's so funny. I look at all the Kabbalah and the beautiful stuff with that, and then I see all the God-man stuff from Casey. But yeah, everything is these dimensions, the planets, the immediate, the 13 dimensions that involve this immediate solar system construct we're in, not including the whole solar system outside of the immediate solar system. Those are our chakra systems. It's like we are intimately connected to this creation, and those portals and those stargates, those are just accessing through different energy centers that are naturally built human avatar. It's like
and the
this
earth itself
body
has a chakra system. Like the dragon
Absolutely.
lines.
It's as above, so below, as
Mhm.
within, so without. It's multi-layered, and you're experiencing those 4 energy centers in 4 different ways, because one is a more cosmic, one is a more local solar system, one is a more physical part, and then one is like the energy field access of the earth system connecting to those systems. It's so multi-dimensional. In the human body is miraculous. It's a quite an antenna, and it
It
literally
is, yeah.
does have the ability to access different dimensions, portals. You can go anywhere, I think, with the human body. I think that's why the DNA is
Mhm.
so highly valuable, is because of the way it can access into different realms that other um, potentials can't, I guess. So I think we are so magnificent. And when we figure that out, yeah, it is kind of game over, because there won't be any way to really divide people amongst themselves anymore. Because once, like you said, once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Mhm.
When people start to realize that there could never be a greater or a lesser, we're all just experiencing different parts of creation, and it's all the same stuff. So
Mm.
it's all operating in so many different ways. But when you, like I said, when you
Just
start to
different
get down to
levels,
the
different frequencies.
yes, yes, different vibrations, different frequencies, different light, and based on consciousness, based on your uh, contribution to creation. And that's the good and the bad, the dark and the light. It's all of it. It's all necessary. So, but I think we've gotten extremely out of balance, but I think that's due to cycles where we're supposed to be. And now we're getting
Mhm.
to that level of consciousness that's like the great redo typically goes again and again and again. I think this is number 7 for us. So, on the 7th day, God rested. So I have a feeling that this is where literally you get the options to become a part of your next level of your soul's evolution. I think it
Yeah,
is a
and part of
major
that
gateway.
is Yeah, and part of that is encoded in what you just said, that God rested. Like when we can rest, when we activate our parasympathetic nervous system instead of our sympathetic fight or flight, that's when we
Yeah.
have access to these dimensions, when we can activate like our alpha and theta brain waves, and then we can get to a point where we can leave our body. Like when we lay down, we can travel to other dimensions, speak to other beings that could also do the same thing at will, that might be somewhere else or in a different realm. And then we can learn things that are beyond the scope of anything that we've learned from just slaving away here on planet Earth, like for other humans. So it's like there's so much more out there, that if we are like have that balance of like where we can tune into it, where we could actually like rest and activate our parasympathetic nervous system through meditation, through bhakti devotion, just through like all of these techniques like yoga, Kriya yoga, especially like
You know what I've
concentration,
been
breath
doing?
work. What?
You know what I've been doing?
What?
I work with the TINS unit, and I actually have a vagus nerve stimulator. And
Oh, okay.
that's,
So you do it
to
physically.
me, yeah, to me, that's the fastest way to just snap my sympathetic nervous system into alignment, is just to stimulate the vagus. And I can do it with the tins, I can do it with your hands, I can do
Yeah.
it with breath, and there's a way. It's hard to do on yourself, but you literally, it's called it's a release method. You literally grab a hold of the vagus nerve and you gently pull it away from the fascia, and it starts to breathe. And if you
Mm,
use breath work, you literally connect into a sound that sounds like when you were in the womb of your mother. You literally start
mm.
to hear the shh, 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 shh. It's amazing. So yeah, there's so many ways to access the vagus nerve, and that is a quick way to get your parasympathetic in the dominant position into the physical body, and get rid of the fight or flight. It's a very effective tool.
Yeah, that's good. Like lately, I've been doing to get into that state. I started doing those gateway meditations. You ever hear of those? The CIA actually studied them back in the 80s, when they were trying to
heard of
get like remote viewing. You've heard of them? Yeah,
I
so they
have
would
heard of
CIA actually, yeah, they actually used it in the 80s because they wanted to see if they can remote view using it. But it's through the Monroe Institute. They have like a series of tape. Like I think the first set are all on YouTube, and then like other ones you have to like download from them. So I had a friend download them, so I have all of them. So I'm going in order. And it's good to do like once a day just to get your mind in that state, and then you could do other things like I always do like devotion to my deities. Like that's like a really big part of me getting into that zone. Like there's so many other things so many ways that you can enter that state. Like when I first started out, it was mostly through like Initiation into Hermetics by Franz Barden. I went through that for the first 4 months. I think I've told this story on here before, where I did these concentration exercises and elemental exercises, working with the 4 elements every single day, like going in order, step by step for the first 4 months. And that's when I had my first out-of-body experience. And then I stopped because I was afraid. I didn't know what was going on. But then, like, once I realized that what was going on, and I can actually control it, then I wanted to induce those states. And that's when I got into Kriya Yoga, breath work. And that is something that I still do, especially now when I'm like at my altar and ritual. Like I'll start off with a lot of breath work. Like one technique I do with my breath is, so as I inhale, I envision like a gold energy coming up my spine and count to about 6. And then I hold my breath at its peak and then envision like a copper energy over my head, and then another 6 going down. And then I feel I envision like a silver energy like coming down my front. And that's something that I do several times as well, to get myself into that state, like when I'm sitting at my altar trying to talk to my guides, like one-on-one.
You know,
Like
so
good.
I love
Mhm.
how everybody does it different, because I kind of
Yeah,
do
there's so
what you
many
do, but
techniques.
yeah, I've kind of bypassed all of it and simplified it for me. And I'm
Mhm.
literally, I just sit down and I clear my mind and I connect and be the tree.
That's good. Yeah, I've done things like that too. Sometimes I try to do these techniques, but then before right when I start them, like after not even a minute or so, like I'll start getting the downloads like that, like 1, 2, 3. And sometimes I don't even do anything and I start getting downloads. So it looked like Trina froze for a second. Hopefully she'll come back soon.
Yeah, looks like we froze there for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. This is a good book to get. I learned
Oh,
so
you
much.
have it right there.
Yeah, I was showing it while you
Very
were
handy.
talking. It's one of my favorite books. I did a lot out of here. As you can see, I got bookmarks in this. This is the key to the true Kabbalah. This one, I got this one.
Yes, I love that book.
And the third in the series, The Practice of Magical Evocation.
Yeah. So did you know in that book they have the 72 angels? They just have them under the mercurial sphere. I didn't realize that at first, but the 72 angels of the Shem HaMefarash, they're in that book for evocation. But they're just called the genie of the genie of the mercurial sphere. But it's the same names. Same names of the 72 angels, and it's them basically. It's exactly them. So they're actually in that book. Let's see it.
I learned so much from the Hermetic book, though. That is
that's where I started.
This is my favorite. This has got so much stuff in there, and I did a few shows on here, and I should do some more. I got several bookmarks in here. Gosh, and it is if you're having questions, about all this stuff, that's a book that really answers a lot of things. And I think that guy got it. Oh yeah, and I think this guy got a lot. All this stuff comes from the Egyptians. Those times they were really smart about that stuff. They had it all. Oh, there she is. She's back.
Oh, good. Yeah. So in the evocation book, they have all the angel sigils too. Like for all of the 72 angels, he has his own sigils, Franz Barden, that you can contact them through his sigils as well. And they come through, and they can act in the more like technical intelligences. So it's really cool. It's like another way of using the angel sigils, and then here's this book that you gave me, and then this book again that also have all of the angel sigils as well. So that was so that there's a lot of different ways that you could connect with them.
Yes, those are real good. That's up here, but anyway, yeah, I got a new studio, so all my books used to be like handy, like I just grab them, but not now. I got a new bookcase, but I only got a few here. But yeah, some of my favorite ones. But the 72 Angels sigil book is good to have, and yeah, it's just good to know these things, regardless of what you believe. Knowing other things in your life is, should be not the out of the ordinary. It should be the normal.
Yeah, definitely.
Just like children nowadays, like you were talking about the breathing and the meditation and all of these things. What if we were teaching kids to do all of those things instead of all?
Yeah, and a lot of parents are doing that now. Some parents are doing that now, so that's good. Teaching it from a young age.
I used to do cranial sacral therapy in the water. I made like my own protocol in the swimming pool, and I would do unwinding for children, and it would like heal any trauma that they had received through the birthing process. So it was amazing what you would see the children do in the water. They would go under the water for long periods of time, and but they always came right up whenever they needed to breathe. But at first it made me nervous because they were staying under so long, and the movements they would express with their body while they were in the water was just simply breathtaking. And they would literally almost kind of go out of body. And I don't know if it was because of the water or what, but that was an amazing experience, because I learned cranial sacral therapy when I went to school, and it's a beautiful modality, and it had healed a neck injury I had for 22 years, and it was nerve damage. So I had chronic pain in my neck for 22 years, and I learned cranial sacral, and my partner in school, who I worked with a lot, she did the cranial on me, and it took me 3 weeks to realize that she'd healed my neck. I'd had the pain for so long. I was just so used to it. I didn't even know it was gone. And then I realized it was gone, and I knew exactly what had done it. I knew it was the cranial sacral. So we integrated that protocol with water, and it was just an amazing learning experience, and beautiful unwinding I see happen for adults, but what an amazing experience for the children. It was very cool.
Yeah, healed by the waters.
Yeah. It's like putting them back in the womb.
Did you know a new study came out the other day that said if you go down by a river or some water for 20 minutes, that will calm your anxiety? And I'm like, wow. Yeah.
I feel like I always need to be by the water.
Yeah, just being by.
And you know what else
at least once a week.
Yeah, and also too, negative ions are always being produced with running water. So it's kind of like being near the ocean. So that's a healing. It's totally healing for you too. So like scientifically, you can see why it's good for you. Spiritually and emotionally, we know it's so good for us. But there's even science behind it that shows why we need to connect with nature. And water is definitely one of the most powerful ways to do that.
Yeah, I went out on the ocean last week, actually. I went out Saturday the entire day for a 12-hour cruise. So that was amazing. Yeah, so it was really nice I was a little nervous because I know some people get seasick because of the constant rocking back and forth, but I was fine. I wasn't when I got home, then I got dizzy because I was so used to the rocking, like I was kind of dizzy, like staying still. Like I felt like I should still be like equilibrating back and forth. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I was getting a little dizzy then, but like I was fine.
Those are
legs. Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about water. water, is our healer. We're all about water. People, and I think that's why people get so much disease now. They say most people are dehydrated. They're drinking all these
Oh, people don't
artificial
drink enough
things.
water, definitely.
Yeah.
And it disrupts the balance of the electrolytes. So you need to have a certain amount of water and like balance your different electrolytes. And there's so many electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and you get all types of imbalances and things that stem from deficiency of each one or too much of one. Like if you have high potassium, that could affect the kidneys and cause other like muscle cramps and could cause a lot of different imbalances.
Yeah. And that's the thing is because like I know myself, like during the week I'm working and stuff, so I drink a lot of water. I'm always constantly drinking water. My cooler to take to work is always full of water and drinks and whatever. And I eat very little. But then on the weekend when I'm home, I tend to do the munchies and I don't drink as much water. I forget to drink the water because it's not right there. It's in the fridge or in the house, and I'm outside, and then I don't drink enough water, and that's my bad. But still, I can see how that happens for people.
Yeah, I try to be hydrated. I have my water right here.
Oh yeah, but it affects it. I didn't say I got water too, but the thing is I can see how it affects how I feel too. It's weird. But yeah, I agree.
No,
now,
that's
true. Is there a difference? I was walking through the store the other day, and then they had water. I was getting my case of water, and it said pH balanced, and I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Can you tell me anything about that? The pH balance? Is there a difference between this water and water that I got? Says something special on it, like this, that, or the other, or is it just the same? Does it matter?
Usually they alter the pH to make it a little more alkaline or basic. Okay. So, and I can't say convincingly one way or the other, but I've heard good things about like having like the pH up a little bit. Like the people who are skeptical of it say that, well, once it's in the body, it doesn't maintain that level. So I'm really not sure, but like water, the different waters are not just like, there's differences between water. Like for example, if you have like the tap water, then you get all types of like drugs and could have a lot of toxic things. So I definitely try to I try to stick with the bottled water, like the mineral water is good for you. So but I've heard good things from people who do drink that type of water, like the alkaline water though.
You know what I do?
What?
I know a guy who used to work for the city, and he used to actually put the chemicals in the water because that's his job. And he when he used to come, he used to always tell us, he's like, don't drink water out of the tap until you let it run for 20 seconds. Now this is only required if you're going to drink. So he said, just let it run for 20 seconds. Like that's a long time, 20 seconds, but let it run because most of the chemicals flow to the top, and most oil-based things flow to the top. So he said, do that for 20 minutes. And I was like, okay. And he says, then after that, he says, the water's basically clean because it's chlorinated and it's got no bacteria. It should be safe. So that's not always true. But for the most part, he said 90% the first 20 seconds. Yeah, the first 20 seconds is where you're going to have the problems. So that's for drinking water. So what I do is, because I get tap water, because I don't do plastic bottled water, because I've heard about the chemicals leaching out of the plastic.
From the plastic, Yeah,
and
they took BPA out, but they have other things.
So I'm doing the tap, but I do the 20-second rule, and then I fill up, and I put it into a purification system. So then I put that water through a purification system, and then I store the water in glass bottles.
Yeah, that's better because plastic has its own problems.
And I drink from glass bottles. Yeah, and I drink from glass bottles. So all day long, I have one of those thermal cups, that holds the ice in and whatever.
Yeah.
But my backup water, because I drink more than just that cup in a day, I bring 2 glass bottles and vodka bottles. Those are awesome to use. The sky ones, those are the blue color. Those are really good
Yeah.
frequency to charge the
And
water
you can
with.
tell the difference in a glass bottle. Like
You
I've drank
can,
water from a glass
yeah.
bottle.
So
Totally, it
yeah,
really feels different
totally,
than plastic.
totally. And then I, because I'm purifying the tap water after my 20 seconds. Let it go
Yeah.
20 seconds. Put it in my filtration system, which I have a Berkey, and I run everything through that, and then I put everything into the glass bottles, and I make sure the Berkey's filled at night. So when you wake up, want to start the coffee pot, whatever, it's already ready. It's already filtered. It's ready to go. So that's what
Yeah.
I do for my water after all the research and stuff I've done, and it seems to be just wonderful.
That's good. Yeah. I like that idea of placing into glass bottles because plastic, we all know that now that it's a huge problem and we still drink
Yeah.
from it. So they took the BPA
Yeah.
out of a
See,
lot of plastic bottles, but there's still nanoparticles, nanoplastics. So
yeah.
there's still, and they take out one thing, like they take out BPA, but then in many cases they put
Put in
things that
something
are
different.
just as toxic. Yeah. Same effect, just different chemical. So
Just
so
switch it
you can't win.
around.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't win.
right. That's it. Just go to the glass. Get a
Mm,
filtration system that you know is good. They've got
yeah.
several on the market. So get a good filtration system. You save money because you're not going to buy the bottled water all the time, but you do have to clean it yourself. But it's
Yeah.
cheaper to do a filter than it is to do all the bottles of water. And then, like I said, most people drink alcohol, or somebody that does. Start getting their liquor bottles. Those are cheap water bottles, and they're clean, and they've been storing alcohol, which is a clean substance, and it's not harmful to a human being. So alcohol bottles are a great
Yeah.
option
'Cause
to
alcohol
start,
kills germs. Mm,
free water bottles, just free, and then just
mm,
take your glass with you. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think every little bit of difference we make, and I hope we can start getting off some of the plastic. It's in our blood
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
oceans are
All those
filled with it.
nanoplastics.
We got to start getting back to some glass. I think it's important.
Yeah. Something sustainable.
Do you
Yeah.
think that they're gonna, because it's all about money and profit and things
Sure.
like that? Do you think they're gonna go to glass bottles again? I remember when I was a kid, you'd buy soda and it would all be, in those big, tall glass bottles in a six
I
pack or
think it
12
would
pack or whatever it
be.
was, and you'd just return them every week.
Mm,
I think that if we could start glass recycling companies, manufacturing companies, glass recycling manufacturing plants, and manufacturing plants,
Mhm.
if that could be a conversion, that could be done. And I know it could be. It's just a matter of getting the funding to do it. But these I think,
yeah.
are some of the changes that we're going to have to make on the planet that are actually going to make a difference and make
Yeah.
sense.
Because something
And
like that has to be
yeah,
more grassroots.
yeah,
Like people have to
we're
come
so
together and start doing stuff like that.
well, we're so used to a throwaway world. Nothing is
Yeah.
permanent anymore. Everything is throw away, consume, throw away, buy another one, throw it away, buy
Hmm.
another one.
Yeah.
I think that we're understanding the effect that that's having on our planet, and we're going to have to stop those silly little behaviors that create so much damage. So every little bit helps.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, and we're the consumers though. And the only way to stop that is stop consuming those products. Otherwise they're going to keep putting them out. Why do you think most of our
Yes.
stuff comes from, overseas or somewhere else in some foreign country? Because that's what we asked for. That's what we want to buy. And it's kind of sad because there was hundreds of great companies in the United States making quality products that
True.
left to make half quality or a third of a
Cheaper.
quality product cheaper out of some plastic stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
anyway,
think that's going to be. I think that's part of the new where you're going to see people that are still going to be into the trending stuff, and then you're going to see people that are going to start to go away from that and start to understand the value of glass bottles and real dishes instead of plastic forks and spoons, using silverware again, real
mhm.
silver, because you get medication from your silver when you eat from silver spoons. So
Yeah.
all of these things literally had medicinal properties. There were such deep wisdom in these simple foundations, like using wood bowls. All of these things and they were forever tools. Grandma's wood bowl would go down through the family line because
Yeah,
these were
things
classic
lasted a
items.
very long time.
Yeah, they never break down. They're good, they're solid, but everybody's about being trendy. I think this is going to start to shift because we're going to realize the effect it's having on our planet, and really it doesn't make people happy. So I think
Yeah.
they're starting to realize that too, that the things of value, grandma's old bowls, are going to mean more now than the brand new ones that light up and turn colors when you pour milk or hot coffee in them. I
And
think
then break a week
I think
later.
it's gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's throwaway and it's not going to be the same quality. I've noticed that with everything from the vehicles to the furniture
Hmm.
to the home building,
Electronics.
everything, yeah, everything's losing its quality. There's like no
Yeah.
quality. I'm seeing how it's all
Things are
about,
just made as
oh,
cheap
don't
as
worry, just,
possible.
yeah, and just replace it in 5 years. Just replace your windows, replace your doors, just replace, replace, replace. And this
Hmm.
is to keep the money wheels rolling,
Yeah,
but
because they make
that's
money
not
off it.
sustainable for anything.
Exactly. Yeah, it just creates more trash, more garbage, and more problems for the environment and for us too.
Yeah.
Because there's so
Yeah.
many other things that we didn't even talk about with the plastics, like all the phthalates that are in in foods now coming leaching in from different uh, like plastics and other stuff, and that's causing a lot of birth defects, and like people don't even want to address that because they don't want to ban phthalates and ban like the plastics with them, the plasticizers, and it's causing all of these developmental problems. It's been proven to um, have developmental toxicity in children, and yet we
You
still
know,
do it.
Ryan, do you
Hmm.
know anything that breaks plastic down? I mean, do we have anything that dissolves plastic organically? Is there any kind of biomes or any? I mean, I don't know the science.
Yeah,
That's
there
your
is.
magic, but
Yeah, I know that there are some bacteria that they found can break down plastic, because
yeah,
before
because I
that
know they
it was.
found one that does nuclear waste too, a bacteria that would
Yeah.
eat nuclear waste. These are the types of solutions I think that are
Hmm.
going to be big money makers in the future. I'm talking, wow, I would put my
Yeah.
money in that in a flat heartbeat. This is going to
Oh
be
yeah.
the kind of stuff that's going to make huge impacts to start to clean up the waste and the pollution. We got to deal with the plastic. We got to deal with the chemicals. So we got to
Yeah.
figure out a
100%.
way to heal from all this toxicity that we are responsible for. We consume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember them talking about Teflon. I think it's a Teflon or something that they use spray on pans. How that is so unseen, and yet people are cooking with it all the time,
Yeah.
and little bits and pieces of that break off. The
The aluminum.
molecules.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they get in your body, and your body can't get rid of that stuff. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Forever chemicals.
yes, forever
Yeah.
chemicals.
The PFAS is
Yeah.
another one. The fluoride chemicals, PFAS. Like a lot of those hydrocarbons. There's so many that people are exposed to, which is regular products, because people just use things to be cheaper, and they end up hurting people because they don't do adequate testing, and then you find out that they are actually harmful, and then by that time they're so routinely used that nobody wants to change anything.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
don't want to change
I mean,
because
I would
well,
love to see like groups of people with this consciousness like start a new like start a new FDA, start a new the police force that stops from in unsafe things going into our children and our
Mhm.
families and our mouths and our food. Boy, I think what a great thing to start over with those, to actually get some things that actually are honestly, you know, for team humanity instead of banking and money making opportunities, and who cares what it does to the people or the planet or the
Yeah,
waste, or
there's so many
we
things
got to
that are
start.
legal in the US that are illegal in the EU and other areas. Like
yeah,
things that they would never
Yeah,
consider using are fine for us.
yeah. Did you hear
mhm.
about the ban on, they were going to ban Coca-Cola or something in several countries and label it as
Mm-mm.
a solvent, a cleaner, not for
Wow.
consumption? Yeah, for real. I
And
was like, are you serious right now?
and
So I don't know.
Coca-Cola in other countries is better than Coca-Cola here. We have even more chemicals than they have in overseas. Like they
Yeah, we
use more
can't
chemicals
even.
here with us. But yeah, like
Yeah,
the
the
phosphates and the
even the
phosphates are very
Coca-Cola
toxic.
in Mexico, the Coca-Cola in Mexico and
Hmm.
Arizona, we're 4 hours apart. Well, they have different Coca-Cola. They don't have the same stuff we do.
Mm. Yeah,
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
that's why Mexican Coke is popular now.
Wow.
Really?
Did not know that. Did not know that. Interesting. Interesting. Uh-oh. There you go.
I know my camera's glitching.
You're back.
Uh-oh. Your camera's glitching.
It's okay. There we go.
Okay.
There we go. Mhm.
But anyway, yeah. It's amazing all the stuff we put in our bodies. We just don't have a clue about all those processed foods, things like that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
that's really
just
good for you too.
eat real food, people. Eat real food. You know, don't eat so much sugars because that creates inflammation. You know, but sugars in everything. They put it in everything so it tastes good. Then your brain registers, hey, that's good. I'll eat it. And people do. They eat this stuff, and then you wonder why they're getting cancer so early. They're dying so early for things. I'm not saying it's all of that, but it's we'll just put it under the discussion of lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, because
You know?
everything now is filled with sugars and saturated fats, and the combination together are really bad. Sugars plus
Yeah.
saturated fats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I would be I can't wait to see when people start to find remedies for this, like how to break down the plastics in the body, how to get rid of, you know, a lot of these strange technologies and stuff that are in the body, how to get rid of the metals, the heavy metals, which we found a lot with that with chelation therapies and the detox foot baths. Those are pulling a lot of the metals out. So, but it's to me, that's going to be an amazing feat when we can start to really resolve and correct some of the things that we, you know, put into us not even knowing most of the time. But
Yeah.
if it, I know if there's a way to create one part of it, there's always the answer to it is on the other side. We just have to find out how to get there. But this is going to be, I think, the next waves and everything is going to be detoxing and how to heal the body from
Yeah.
the damage.
Undoing what we've
Yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Return.
Well, we've come to our hour and then some. I appreciate both of you for coming on. Any last thoughts before we leave?
Ryan.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's been a really productive discussion. I think we hit on a lot of really important topics in society. So it's always good to talk to you guys and get our thoughts out there to more people so that we can try to like send something positive into the world. So glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when we bring up topics like, you know, water, which is important to, I don't care who you are, we all need water. One way or another, it pertains to everybody.
Yeah, and we're in Aquarius right now, so it's the time. It's water bearer season.
Yeah, it is. It is. Absolutely. And Trina, thank you for coming on. It's nice seeing you again. It's wonderful you come back anytime. And we'll see you both soon, I hope. Not 3 months from now. And you can tell us more about the dreams and stuff going on. We got lots of things going on for March and April here are going to be really good months for talking about all this. I want your thoughts sometime about those planets that are aligning, and maybe next time you come on about the planets that are aligning in, I think it's October. Is it? If I can remember, I did a show on it a while back about it, but this is the year they're aligning.
Oh, okay. I read about that a little while ago.
Yeah, how is that going to affect all of this? I mean, you're in with that wheel and all this stuff. How is that going to affect us? Or does it matter at all?
I think it'll have some effect. I don't know what it is, but Usually that's how astrology works. It's all about angles. So when everything comes in the same alignment conjunction, it's definitely going to have some effect on the human psyche.
Ah, good. I hope it's in a good, positive way.
Me too.
That's right. Anyway, don't forget tomorrow night, join me and Nina the Mystic on Sunday Live. But most of all, everybody, go and check out Max Vision right now, right after the show. I'm putting the link in the chat if you want to go. He's got his remote view class going on. If you want to improve your mind and check things out that way, that is the way to go, because it is a fun deal. Trust me, I might be there. I don't know. I got a few things to do here, and then I'll go. I usually get to do at least one, but my first one's always the best because my mind is clear. You know, when you can clear your mind, it's the hardest. I think, to me, that's the hardest thing out there, clearing your mind. And once your mind is clear, you can really remote good. Because sometimes I get spot on the first time, and after that, I'm way off in left field. But he puts on a great show. He's been on here a number of times, but it's to me, that's close as you can get to lucid dreaming and all of that, and actually see it in the live time, you know. But go out and practice that stuff too. Lucid dreaming, dreams, right? Remember, get your dream. I got my dream journal here somewhere. But anyway,
I got mine.
Yes.
Can I
go
tell
ahead.
you guys? Can I tell you guys really quick and help? Like, I'd
Go ahead.
love your perspective on this. Okay. A few weeks ago, my dad told me he had another diagnosis, which was not really good news. And about 5 days later, because I you know, his consciousness, he's not like, you know, he's not awake. He's very much, you know, he's in his own little world, and it's a beautiful place to be. But you know, he's just never been into this kind of stuff, so he has no idea about what's going to happen in the afterlife. I just really don't think he has any idea, because he's never even been interested in any of that. So I have this dream, and I'm in a boat, like a rowboat, like a small little fishing boat, whatever. And it's just me and my father, and we're off the coast of a big city. It looks like Los Angeles, New York, I don't know, lots of high rises, whatever. We're not too far off of the coast. And I'm in the boat with my father, and the water had like this white floating substance on the top. It was like it was like not like a mist, but it was kind of like snow, but it was kind of like hail,
foam?
little tiny white balls that were floating on top of the water. And it didn't feel like it felt like, you know, people talk about the plastic snow, kind of like that. It was very strange. I was like, what's this white stuff? So I'm looking at the white stuff in the water, and all of a sudden my dad's standing up in the boat, and I'm like looking at the water, what's this white stuff? And then I look up all of a sudden at the skyline again, and my dad's looking up. He goes, what's that? And I looked up higher. The sky was divided, and there was like a tunnel that kind of went wider at the top, and it kind of went down, but it was like the sky. It's like when you see a rainbow, there's different colors in the sky, and then it's the, you know, the rainbow's there, and then it's normal sky on each side. So I could see our sky on each side of this whole tunnel thing, but I could see different dimensions sitting in the heavens. Like, I could see the dimensions, and I didn't understand why I could see the dimensions. And my dad was like, what's that? And I said, whoa, those are the dimensions above us, but I don't know why we can see them. And he goes, dimensions above us? I go, yeah, those are the different dimensions.
The 9
And he
levels.
goes, yeah, I could, it was really, as far as I can remember, it was like the way I could see the bands, and you could see in every dimension, the sky was a different color. So it was kind of cool. So you could tell the dimensions because they looked different. Each one looked different. And I could only see about 5 to 6 maybe above. But my dad, I'd never seen the skies open up with the dimensions, like you could see the dimensions. And my dad was like, whoa. And he was like, what's that? I'm like, the dimensions. And then I was like, but I don't know why we can see them. And then I said, yeah, Dad, that's where we go when we leave our bodies. We go up into these different realms and dimensions. And he goes, wow. And I was like, yeah, Dad. I'm like, it'll all be good. I said, so when you leave here, don't worry. They just showed you kind of where you're going to go. And he was like, wow. And he just kept looking at the dimensions. And then I woke up.
Wow, that is a good dream. Very positive.
Yeah, it was
It is.
cool. It was really wild.
So he's opening. I think that means he's opening up to those possibilities, even if it's not something he's doing consciously yet.
Yeah. Yeah, your unconscious mind works overtime.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But yeah, all good. I love dreams. Write that stuff down, people. See how good that is. Anyway, with that, remember, do something nice for your neighbor. At least wave to him. Just try to go out there and do nice things. Love everybody around you. And if I could, I'd give you all a big hug. But I'm not there. So air hugs. And so there you go. Air hugs. Anyway, with that, remember, people, go out and be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love you all. Peace, everybody.